Guns, Germs, and Steel, The Fates of Human Societies is a historical nonfiction book written by a guy named Jared Diamond. Published in 1997, the book explains in great detail the reason why some human societies, namely the Europeans, were able to conquer vast regions of the world. Diamond explains that Europeans had natural advantages such as ideal climates, geographies, and growing conditions for farming and the domestication of animals. Not only did European agriculture give them resistance to various diseases, but said agriculture produced food surpluses, which allowed for the specialization of labor. Specialized laborers would work to produce advanced technology such as swords, gunpowder, and firearms. When the Europeans arrived in the New World during the Age of Exploration, they brought with them gunpowder, disease, and steel, amongst other items, hence the title of the book, Guns, Germs, and Steel. Not only were physical goods exchanged between the various regions as a result of this European exploration, but cultural practices were intermingled as well. Along with their guns, germs, and steel, the Europeans, particularly the Spanish, brought with them their religion of their mother country. The overwhelmingly Catholic Spanish established colonial plantations called encomiendas, which were funded by the Spanish government. Now, it's no coincidence that those who operated these plantations had three requirements: provide ample shelter, teach the natives Spanish, and promote the Catholic faith. This forcing of European cultural practices, whether they be linguistics or religion, is not unlike the cultural imperialism seen in the Middle East during the 20th and 21st centuries. Jared Diamond's semiotic approach was impacted by the fact that he was writing the book not long after the United States found itself engaged in war with the Middle East. This leads us to our next point of discussion regarding the thematic similarities between European colonization of the New World during the early modern period and Western interference in the Middle East from the 20th century to the present.
Cultural imperialism is a term used to describe the heavy Western influence on the Eastern world, and in the case of Human Majid's The Ayatollah Begs to Differ, this imperialism targets the Middle East, specifically Iran. Continuing with the trend of foreign enforcement of cultural practices as seen in Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel, The Ayatollah Begs to Differ summarizes the impacts of the Western Hemisphere's interference in the Middle East. The novel takes place nearly 30 years following the 1979 revolution, and highlights the complex relationship between Iranians and Americans, with the latter attempting to take control of the former on quite a few occasions. In 1953, a coup was staged by the CIA to overthrow the increasingly popular Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh in favor of strengthening the power of the monarch of Iran, Shah Reza. Mossadegh threatened to nationalize the nation's oil reserves, which were under the control of BP starting in 1913, and America wanted none of that. This is one of the factors that created a proportionate level of hate for the new Iran government, even though we are known for our love of spreading the seeds of democracy. In contrast, more often than not, the common man living in Iran does not view American people in a negative light. Rather, the American government that threatened the Iranian government, which they bled to create in 1979. Said revolution was a rejection of all things Western, including the Shah. This so-called rejection of all things Western is an effect of cultural imperialism by nations of the Western Hemisphere, as they attempted to institute a Western-style government in a region that was not accepting of such a political body. The forcing of a type of government is not unlike the Europeans forcing religion and linguistics upon conquered natives. The cultural imperialism seen as early as the 1400s is present in the current struggles with the Middle East, who have been fighting since the mid-20th century.